How's it going, everyone? In this video I will be making a technical drawing that includes unilateral, bilateral, and limit dimensions. So I'll be making a technical drawing for the axle stabilizer that I created in the last video. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start by creating a new drawing, and we're going to go with size A in inches, and I'm going to look at the views that are on my technical drawing here. Looks like I have my front view, and it looks like I have a bottom view as well. And let me grab my axle stabilizer here. So I'm going to start with my front view in the top left corner. I'm going to go down and project a bottom view. And then you're also going to notice there's an isometric view. So I'm going to click on my front view, drag up to the top right corner like so, and basically project that isometric out. Once I have that out, I can drag this back down into position. I'm going to click Show Shaded View, and that looks great. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add my dimensions with their tolerances. So I'm going to start with this piece right over here. I'm going to go to Dimension, click on both of those edges there, double click the value, and first thing we're going to do is we're going to switch to only 2 units. And then under tolerance, again, if we're looking at our technical drawing, we are given a limit tolerance, so we'll go to limits. And we also need to make sure that we change this to only 2 decimal places again. And we're going to go with 0.02, because again, my dimension that I have right now is 0.25, and we know that the upper limit is 0.27, so I'm going to add 0.02 to get my upper limit there, and then to get my lower limit, I'm going to need to subtract 0.01, like so. And then the last thing you're going to do is you're going to type in TYP for typical, like so. Alright, so I have my lower limit, my upper limit, and I also have the typical in there, so that looks great. Now I'm going to do this edge to this edge. So we're doing this bilateral tolerance. So I'm going to click on both the edges here, double click on the value there. We'll change this to 2 decimal places again. And we're going to make this a symmetrical tolerance. So I know the correct term that we talk about in class is bilateral, but in OnShape it's called symmetrical. Once we have selected symmetrical, we are going to change the decimal places again. So we're just going to go to 2 decimal places. And from here, we can type in our value of plus or minus 0.02, like so. Once that is complete, you can exit out of that window, and that next dimension has now been completed. So let's work on this front view here. I'm going to start by dimensioning the radius here, like so. And again, on the given drawing, we only see 2 decimal places, so we can change that just by double clicking on the value, clicking on this down arrow where it says precision, and change that to 2 decimal places like so. I am going to right click my front view, and I'm going to enable my hidden lines because I want to see them. So there's one hidden line here, and I'm going to do the same thing over here, like so. And then another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to include a center mark on my hole here, like so. And let's go ahead and dimension this edge to the center mark here. It's going to be 2. And now the last dimension that we are missing is going to be the diameter of my hole here. So I'm going to click on my hole there, click once, double click the value, and again we want 2 decimal places, so we're going to change that. And this time we're going to have a deviation tolerance. So in other terms, unilateral. In OnShape, it is called deviation. And for the unilateral tolerance, we know that we can go 0.02 bigger. So I'm going to actually change my decimal places again beforehand. And for my plus sign, it's going to be 0.02. For my minus sign, it's going to be 0.00 because it can't go any smaller, but it can go 0.02 inches bigger. So that looks good. I'm going to hit enter, and I now have my dimension with all the tolerances. So here I have my limit tolerances. Here we have the bilateral tolerances, and then over here we have the unilateral tolerances. So that is how you create all the different kinds of tolerances that we've talked about. And again, your technical drawing should look like the one that I gave to you. Should look very similar. The last thing I'm going to do here is that I'm actually going to label this. So this is going to be the axle stabilizer. And we're going to call this one done.